Hello and welcome to TVB News. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority and the Association of Banks have established a joint task force to address financing difficulties faced by small and medium-sized companies. Some small companies had recently complained that their banking facilities had been squeezed by banks. Jackie Lin reports.
Although many aspects of Hong Kong's economy are recovering after the pandemic, some sectors are still struggling. Worsening their financial strain, some banks reportedly asked for earlier loan repayments because of the downward valuation adjustment of the borrower's property or collateral, a move known as call loan. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority and the Association of Banks have announced that a task force will be established to address the financing needs of small and medium-sized companies in a more efficient manner. HKMA Chief Executive Eddie Yu said the city's three major banks see no changes to the criteria in SME's credit approval. He said if customers repay their loan on time and there are no special changes in business conditions, even if their collateral's value changes, there will be no impact on their credit limit and no calling of loans. The task force will also aim to strengthen communication among HKMA, banks and businesses. However, the Hong Kong Small and Medium Enterprises Association recently received at least 5 cases of tightened credit. One case was initially approved of a $12 million loan from a bank, but that was later lowered to $8 million, and the borrower has to repay $4 million early. The SME Association's honorary chairman Danny Lau said the liquidity squeeze could beleaguer many SMEs financially and even lead to bankruptcy. The HKMA added apart from the 3 note-issuing banks, discussions are underway with 11 other retail banks via the newly minted task force. They will aim to shorten mortgage approval periods to within 2 weeks to enhance market transparency and efficiency. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
Chief Executive John Lee is set to unveil his policy address in October. Today, a video was released about the city's outcome in attracting talent and companies.
Our innovative efforts to grab talent and attract business have yielded positive results.
The 6-minute video features interviews with multiple companies that have set up offices in Hong Kong. Among them is Digital Domain, which is the firm behind many award-winning visual effects for Hollywood productions. The government said more than 100 innovation and tech enterprises have set up their offices in Hong Kong. They're bringing in a total investment of over $52 billion and creating more than 15,200 jobs. The public are also encouraged to express their views on the policy blueprint. The government will hold a seminar on the promotion of the spirit of the 3rd plenary session of the 20th Communist Party of China's Central Committee next week. Keynote speakers include representatives of a central government delegation. Under the 3rd plenary session, Beijing aims to achieve further reforms and push for a Chinese-oriented modernization. Speakers from the mainland delegation will arrive in the city next Monday. The Hong Kong government emphasized the spirit of the 3rd plenary session benefits the long-term development of Hong Kong and the livelihood of local residents. The seminar will be aired live on television and online. The chief executive election for Macau is set to take place on October 13th, with the nomination period starting next Thursday. The Electoral Affairs Commission for the chief executive election of the enclave met to discuss arrangements for the election process. Unlike previous elections, residents will not cast their ballots at the Macau East Asian Games Dome. The election committee chairwoman Song Man Lei said local authorities are considering the city's complex of commerce and trade cooperation platform for China and Portuguese-speaking countries as a possible voting venue. The nomination period is set to last between the 29th of this month and the 12th of next month. Candidates must receive at least 66 nominations from members of the Electoral College. Welcome back. Two major computer-related events kicked off in Hong Kong today. The annual computer fair and the city's first Belt and Road Software Pavilion are both being held at the Hong Kong Convention and Exhibition Center. The events have drawn computer geeks, bargain hunters, and exhibitors from around the world. Jackie Lin was there.
Held at the Convention and Exhibition Center in Wan Chai, Hong Kong Computer and Communications Festival 2024 boasts a record 300 exhibitors this year. Apart from discounted electronic products for computer aficionados and bargain hunters, gamers can also have a well of a time at the four-day event.
There is a lot of cheap products. It's much cheaper than our shops outside, and there's also some simulator here, so I can give a try and decide whether I should buy it.
Look familiar? This video game brings to life a fictional city inspired by Hong Kong's Kowloon Walled City in the early 90s. Visitors can try out its demos at the fair ahead of the game's official release in November.
And it's crazy to see all the amount of new technology and what they can now offer here, to see all the innovations they have here.
The city's first Belt and Road Software Pavilion also kicked off at the Convention Center. Attending its opening ceremony, Deputy Financial Secretary Michael Wong said the Digital Policy Office established last month and the Belt and Road event represent the government's commitment to promoting the SAR's digital transformation.
Today represents an excellent effort to contribute towards the construction of the digital Silk Road. Win-win cooperation is a sure way to success in launching major initiatives that benefit all.
This vendor from Beijing hopes to leverage Hong Kong as an international launchpad for its business. Aiming to foster cross-regional exchanges in the software industry, the two-day expo features 120 exhibitors, including software companies specializing in cybersecurity and AI-driven digital solutions. Some exhibitors also set up interactive games to draw more customers, like this basketball arcade booth, for us to pop a shot with a chance to win discounts and souvenirs. Jackie Lin, TV News.
A male patient who had a nasogastric tube misplaced into his left bronchus at Queen Elizabeth Hospital earlier this year remains in critical condition. An investigative report indicates the mistake was due to the inexperience of a medical intern. Timothy Lee reports.
2 months after the nasogastric tube mistake, the 61-year-old patient who suffers from tetraplegia, a condition where one's arms and legs are paralyzed, remains in critical condition. An investigative committee earlier established by Queen Elizabeth Hospital announced findings from their investigation today. The medical mishap occurred during the afternoon of the 16th of June this year, during which nurses routinely changed the patient's nasogastric tube for feeding purposes. By nighttime, a nurse performed the same task, as well as performed a liquid extraction and stethoscope procedure. The hospital staff determined that the nasogastric tube has already been inserted into the stomach, after which the patient was fed with formula milk during an X-ray examination. After examining clinical records, the hospital's investigative committee believes the feeding tube passed through the bronchus and entered a cavity in the left lung. Dr. Tan Kam Shing, who heads a root cause analysis panel, stressed the medical incident is exceedingly rare, adding that the acidity levels of the patient's chest infection misled hospital staff into believing that it was the stomach. Regarding why the mishap was only discovered 2 days later, the panel said the medical intern inspecting the X-ray images was likely to be inexperienced. The panel suggested strengthening training for hospital interns and reviewing current guides on the placement of nasogastric tubes. Queen Elizabeth Hospital also issued an apology to relatives of the patient. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Thailand has reported Asia's first case of the Mpox clade 1b strain. Meanwhile, people traveling from 42 risk countries are also required to test upon arrival. A 66-year-old European man who arrived in Bangkok from Africa last week was detected to have Mpox. Authorities confirmed that he had contracted the clade 1b strain, a potentially deadlier strain of the virus, making it the second confirmed case of the variant outside Africa. Since the outbreak of Mpox in tropical rainforests in West and Central Africa, the World Health Organization has issued a public health emergency of international concern. Starting from Friday, Singapore will screen the temperature of travelers arriving at Changi and Seletar airports from risky places. People with fever, rash, or symptoms compatible with Mpox will be referred for medical assessment. President Xi Jinping made his first phone call with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer today. Xi congratulated Starmer on his appointment as Prime Minister and said China is willing to maintain exchanges with the United Kingdom at all levels. Both leaders agreed to take a long-term view while developing a stable, strategic, and mutually beneficial relationship. They also talked about collaboration in finance, the green economy, and AI. A volcano in southwestern Iceland erupted on Thursday evening for the 6th time since December, spewing red lava through a new fissure on the Reykjanes Peninsula. The eruption began shortly after 9 p.m., following a series of strong earthquakes. Within the hour, a 4-kilometer fissure cut through the Sundukur crater. Iceland authorities said the eruption's effects remained localized, causing road closures, but it doesn't threaten the population. As news of the eruption spread, hundreds of curious onlookers drove to vantage points for a view of the stunning natural phenomenon. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.